Look what I've got here, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Cliff here. Dane Henson was up at the Wood Springs air show a couple of weekends ago. I expressed an interest in his little range of models, which are actually very nice indeed, and I'll show you in a minute. But he sent me a couple down. One I was particularly interested in, and he sent me one extra as well. So lovely bloke, brilliant company. I'll link to their website below. Check them out, do. Some of their planes are in development, are due out any week, month now, but the couple I've got here look really smart. So let's take a look, see what I got. They're actually designed for free flight rubber or radar control conversion. There's a Fokker Dviii, that's the high wing monoplane, but the one I'm really interested in is the Liberty Raider. I think it's an American aeroplane, all balsa, easy flight, made for free flight, CO2, or I think Danes are putting together a capacitor conversion for free flight, which is going to be really interesting. So which shall I build first? I could toss a coin. I found a bag of foreign coins actually, so let's see what we've got in here. Quite a few here. I know this isn't strictly necessary, any coin would do, but let's have a look, see what's here. Chinese, Japanese. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stir them all up, and I'm shut my eyes, honest, and I'm just going to say that one, 10, it's 10 anyway. And so I'm going to call heads with the lovely looking building on and tails the back side. So here we go. Oh, I haven't said which is which yet. I'm going to make the Liberty Raider heads and the Fokker tails, okay? For no particular reason. Here we go. And the answer is tails. It's the Fokker. Right, the Fokker it is. Henson'S flying machine. Fokker D8. I'll probably make this one free flight and make the Liberty Raider controlled. So let's have a look, see what we've got. This is a 12-inch span peanut scale, known as the Flying Razor. Of course it was, yeah. So I'm going to start with the fuselage. I've just had a quick skim. The first part, fuselage, which suits me because I usually start with the fuselage. Everything is as told you here. You can see it on here, and it's labelled down here, so you can't go wrong really. So I'm going to make a start on the fuselage, and I'll come back to you when I've got something to show you. So that's the completion of step 1, just basically gluing in 4 formers. Went easy enough, CA'd it, no problems at all. So it's looking like a Fokker already. Begin building the tail section, starting with part 9A, the tail skid, and so on. So I'll crack on with the tail skid end. This little back bit, the model can be built as a display model, you know, just in the bare bones, or as a flying model. So I'm adapting it as I go along. Of course, I made it a little bit rounder because I put in a little I don't know if you can see that, little packing piece in there, just to round it up a little bit, and then I'll round the fuselage sides a little bit more, not a lot, just take off the edges. Popped on the cowl. There's plenty of access in the front here for the rubber motor fittings, so that's okay. And I've glued the elevators to the tailplane and sanded them all. The main reason being I want to tissue cover this before I stick it on the model, and same with the fin. In fact, I can glue that bit in there now and sand it all nice round, and then tissue cover it. Like I let in a little bit of extra wood down on these edges here, just to allow me to round it up a little bit more instead of leaving it so blunt. Basically, I filled the square edges with balsa wood, but it will need to be tissue covered first. So there we are, easy build so far. So I've mixed up some white glue and water, and I'm just going to lay this on the outside edge of the structure. There's loads of ways you can do tissue covering. I've got videos on it, check it out if you want to know. But you start with the underneath part, and I'm out of practice, and turn it over and do the top, and then the join is on the underneath. The important thing is to get out, oops, I'm snagging it there a little bit, get out as many wrinkles as you can. Oh, what fun! I said I wasn't going to do a build video, so I'm not going to film everything, so I'm going to stop there, come back to you when I've got them all tissued up. Okay, we've got a construction update. Here's the main wing. Went together really easily, actually, as you would expect. And I've tissue covered the fin and rudder and just water shrunk it. It's come out reasonably well there. I've left this bit of tissue here because I might just sort of do something like that. So we'll see, and then maybe tissue over the top, stick it to that tissue. Okay, I've covered the wing and I'm going to let that dry. Saying about the long struts out to the wingtips, I've put in the large pieces that go on the outside of this. I've just cut out the relevant part for the strut mounting just in case I decide to put them in. Could think of covering it now. The undercarriage still is to go in. I put in a couple of little balsa blocks back here to put my dowel through for the rubber band. Okay, there we go. A little bit of progress. Just sat the tail on there. The wing, I've just given one coat of water so far, just plain water, and that'll sit up there somewhere. Okay, little update. I've just glued in the wing struts onto the fuselage, and then when they're dry I'm going to paint them, and then I'm going to glue the top wing on. The rest is tissued. I don't know if you've seen that. I painted the cowl green for the minute. Not sure if I'm going to keep that colour, but it's striking. But she's looking pretty good. Just thought I'd show you the strengthening, because I'm not putting those outer struts on. Don't like the look of those, so I've beefed up the inner struts. Obviously there's no strength in these to speak of, so I put a piece of 1mm carbon rod up the back of this one and up the inside of the front one. See that there? So now these are really quite solid, and they go down inside the fuselage where they're glued in to the main frame, and out you'll see that. Yes, you can a little bit. So, but they're a lot more solid now, so they should take any sort of knock. I'll have to do something similar to the undercarriage because it's a similar arrangement. I've got the lower wing to make yet, but these will go in here somewhere. So I'm going to beef those up with a bit of carbon, and that will glue on in those slots there, and then I'll get the carbon going up inside the fuselage as well, and glued on into the structure. Okay, so I've fitted the lower wing and tissue covered the struts and the undercarriage struts. Now I want to try and make this fly rubber powered, and you're not going to get much of a flight using the little rubber band they supply, but I want to fly it, so I'm going to put in, I'm not going to use the little thrust button and tube that they supply and the cotter pin for the propeller. I'm going to use one from another kit which comprises of a thrust button, as they call it, that goes in the nose, which I've made the hole bigger, and then you can put in a much bigger rubber band, much longer, and it's two bands that have been braided together. As you can see, it's quite long. I've put the rear peg further back than they suggest. They suggest here, which is probably about right for the length of the band. I'm going back to there, and then I'm also going to put on a slightly smaller propeller because I think this one's going to give me too much torque. So that's a little bit of a change from the kit to make it a flying model, more of a flying model. I want to try and get a little bit more duration out of it. So I put a better axle in the wing, and the axle tube itself is going to be that one there, which is also carbon fibre. And now I'm just going to look at the wheels. The wheels they give you are fine for what they are. They're a good size. So there we go. It's coming on now. It's really coming together. These feel incredibly strong with the carbon rod going as I showed you just now. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. Just got to paint in the details. The tail skid got to paint in, and we're moving forwards. Cheers. I've put the machine guns on. I've finished the strut and wheel assembly. The wheels look okay, guys. I'm quite happy with those. I'm going to put, so they're only the original stock wheels then, with painted black on the inside and just a little paper cone stuck on the outside, but they've got the effect there. Simple. So I've just glued in the outer tube, and the inner tube of carbon is going to be my actual axle, which I'll just glue onto the wheels. So I'm just going to cut that to length and get that done. Pretty little aeroplane. The next video will be trimming and flying.